What if everything ended, but it didn't really? Like, what if the world as we know it ended, but life went on? We're going on a deep dive today into a future where humanity survives. Yeah, survives the nuclear war, but not up here on the surface.
Down below.
Yeah. Our sources describe survivors in this hidden city called Submergia. They're thriving decades after everything topside became, well, a wasteland, a frozen wasteland.
Right.
We're looking at excerpts from The Lucky Generation Part 1. It takes place in this hidden world. But we've also got the Vivendi virus to think about. Talk about real-world anxieties, right? I mean, powerful elites, hidden truths, it's all right there.
It really makes you think. This idea that the same people who might destroy the world could be the ones who survive.
It's like, what?
Yeah. Speaks to some pretty deep fears we have about power and control,
Yeah,
What length the people will go to survive, self-preservation, all of that.
totally. And the Lucky Generation just throws us right into this world. We've got Alice and Tom. They're young, live in Submergia, and have no idea about the world before.
None.
It's amazing, their environment. They've got this artificial sunlight, but it feels real. And these replicators that can just, I don't know, make anything they want.
Which is interesting, right? Makes you think about what survival really means. Is it just about staying alive?
The question.
Submergia seems like this perfect place with all the technology and everything.
Right.
But is it real? Is it like a gilded cage?
It's like they're living a lie. And speaking of lies, there are these cracks in the facade. Tom finds this book. It's like a forbidden artifact called Permacracy, and it hints at other ways they could have dealt with the whole, nuclear war thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to question everything, like, why Submergia? Why are we stuck down here?
That's what I like about this story. It's not just about, oh, it's the end of the world. It makes you think about the truth, about facing hard things.
It's deep.
Like this book, Permacracy, it's like this catalyst, Could they have avoided the war? And this solution in the book, does it even matter now?
Wow. And then there's Project Regenesis.
Mhm.
We meet this guy, Johnny Kubrick, a scientist, brilliant, but kind of reckless. He's using nanobots to clean up the Earth.
Really?
Yeah, like regrowing a garden out of a nuclear wasteland.
So we're talking, bioremediation. We see the potential in the real world using microorganisms and stuff. But this author's taking it to a whole other level. Nanotech healing the planet. Awesome, but scary too, right?
Just like, even if you can't go back, would you?
Yeah.
Has humanity learned anything? Plus, there's Johnny. He's not just cleaning up. He's got this technology that could reshape the planet.
It's got that much power, and that's what's scary, right? Think about it. We worry about powerful people in the real world
All the time.
and technology. It can be good or bad.
The good and the bad.
And this Johnny, he's like that too. He could be amazing, but he's also kind of reckless.
He's playing with fire.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder where innovation ends and messing with stuff you shouldn't starts. But it gets even more intense. The Lucky Generation throws a curveball, a huge twist. Remember how we were talking about those in power maybe being behind it all?
Right, right.
The Lucky Generation doesn't mess around. It just throws you right into that.
Yeah, it does. No kidding. And it's actually Johnny, with all his tech skills, who figures it out.
About the nanobots?
Yeah, the nanobots, they're
Yeah.
the key. They get into everything, even those super secret areas in Submergia where the founders live.
Those inner circles, right? Like a peek behind the curtain.
And what they find is, bad,
Understatement.
maybe. Recordings of the founders congratulating themselves
Oh,
for starting the nuclear war.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They planned it all.
That's what it sounds like. And the worst part is, they're not even sorry. They really thought they were, like, saving the world.
It's crazy.
Right. How can you think you're the good guy when you're wiping out millions?
Like, the ends justify the means, but on a whole other level.
Exactly. And the thing is, these founders, they got away with it. For years, everyone in Submergia thought they were heroes. It's exactly like the Vivendi virus.
Oh, you're right. They're both about this fear of hidden truths, powerful people with their own agendas.
Yep. The Vivendi virus, those journalists uncover the same kind of thing. Elites building a bunker, leaving everyone else to fend for themselves.
And it's the same reaction, too. People are angry. They want someone held responsible. But what can you do? It's like this fear that maybe, just maybe, those in power don't play by the same rules.
And they don't care about us, just themselves.
Makes you think twice, right? Who can you really trust when everything you thought you knew is a lie?
Totally. And that's where things get really interesting, because the Lucky Generation and the Vivendi virus, they both look at what happens next. Like, how do you move on after something like that?
I don't know about you, but I'd be messed up. Finding out the world you know is like a lie. That's heavy stuff.
It really is.
And that's what I like about the Lucky Generation and the Vendi virus. They don't just drop this bombshell and walk away.
Right.
They deal with the fallout. Like, what do you do next? Can you even move on?
Not easily. In the Lucky Generation, they put the founders on trial.
Makes sense.
But even then, it's like, can you really have justice when an entire planet was almost,
Wiped out.
yeah,
It's a good question. And honestly, it's relevant to us now, isn't it?
totally.
We're still figuring out how to deal with the terrible things that happened in the past, how to hold people accountable.
It's like that feeling in the Lucky Generation, trying to make sense of the past. And they don't have some easy answer. There's no going back to normal. They have to find a new way forward, knowing what they know now.
And that question, the one about breaking free, not just surviving, but actually learning from the past, that's powerful.
Yeah. And I think both stories, they're saying it's not enough to just have fancy technology.
Got to be deeper than that.
Exactly. It's about facing the truth about ourselves. We can create amazing things, but also destroy everything.
The double-edged sword of humanity.
And maybe, just maybe, if we understand that, we can actually make a better future.
Not just survive, but thrive.
Exactly.
It's amazing what these stories can teach us, right? I mean, we're talking about nuclear war, hidden agendas, the power of technology.
It makes you think.
Big time. So, as we come back to the surface, back to reality after this deep dive, it leaves you with a lot to consider. What would you do if you were Alice or Tom? If you found out the truth about Submergia? Something to think about. Until our next deep dive, thanks for joining us.